So, Gracieli,
Hello.
you are an end-of-life carer, and tell us, what does that mean to you? What's different, let's say, from another kind of carers?
I try to be invisible as much as I can and try to be a part of the family. Make the ending it's not too hard for the patient.
Because you were born in Brazil,
Yes.
and English is your fourth language, I believe,
Yes.
yes?
Yes.
So at what point did that caring thing make you realise the
As a
importance of end-of-life?
as a professional carer, I started to when I moved to Italy in 2005, and I had this dementia lady that is need, and her husband was desperate. He didn't know what to do, so I just did like a few changes. I create like a routine. I show them a blister pack that they were very afraid to die, and I start to talking day by day with her how she gonna die, how should you like to die, how is the funeral, how is the ceremony, how's everything. And she stopped to be very anxious about it and started talking, and for the husband as well was a very easy thing. I feel that each individual is different. Try to live a life in the way make you feel happy, like if you like to sitting down in the kitchen, why not? If you like to have friends around, why not? If you like to make your mind, I know it's not easier. I know when you have like a terminal condition and you're gonna die, you're afraid, you're anxious, you're in pain, but try to combine all these things and try to make the person the last times of her life very happy. Listen, they are not a plant on the corner of the room, they are human. And you make sure when I come across with a patient that dying, I make them happy.
And of course, I've got experience of you as a carer with caring for my wife, Eunice.
Exactly.
And I know that you're providing a sparkling, fun atmosphere where people are smiling and laughing makes a tremendous difference to us.
Yes.
What difficulties do professional carers often come across?
If we're talking about a private setting, when people coming around and they don't know what's going on, they don't know how the work plan, and they try to interrupting that. So they come and they think they can change everything. We come across with this all the time.
What about informal and family carers? A lot of people care for their relatives or whatever. What difficulties do they often come across?
They don't know what to do,
Mm-hmm.
and they started to get very anxious, confused. They fighting. They try to help, but they don't know how to help, and they already very very worried because they know the family member is gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what they do, what they don't. How can I do? How will not? Even their fear to make something wrong. So that's something very hard because the someone in bed with a pain, you don't know what you can give to them. Sometimes you not get the information right. You don't know where you get the information right. The district nurse, the doctors don't have enough time to come around, sit down and talk to you. So how you know?
And what about other members of the family, those who aren't the main carers?
They come and because they see what's going on, they try to help, but because they are anxious and they don't know how to behave, and they interpret what's going on, and they have their own view, and they not be able to help as well.
Okay. So everyone gets panicked and
Yes.
stressed
Yes,
and exhausted.
exactly.
Okay. What guidance and support do you think might help carers, both professional and informal or family carers?
I think online media it's help a lot because you can put in videos in there to show how to caring for people, how you daily survive. A book, a guidebook, because I think there is no a guidance book to helping a family member to look after someone, especially because each individual have a different condition. The other thing is having more regular meetings. So if everybody has a clear view about what's going on, it's becoming much easier for the patient, for the family, for the friends, for people around.
I mean, one thing we found was that we had people coming on a rota basis to hold hands and to
Yes.
say,
Yes.
talk poetry and discuss and show photographs and,
Yes.
and dancing and parties.
We try to take as much information from until they talk, what they like. Eunice was a very popular person. She likes people, she likes party, she likes music. She loved jazz, she loved dancing, she loved classic music. And she has a variety of everything. So then, when Eunice is about to die, that's what we did in Eunice. And if the patient likes to go out, if he still can put him in a wheelchair, why not take him out? I think it's a combined of many things.
So by planning with the extended network of friends,
Yes.
this can help everyone's anxiety and make it feel better. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. It's yes, because you
Getting
understanding
the patient to say as much as possible early on.
exactly. If the patient is alone, that's the only route we go. If the patients live with the family, I usually come across with the patients with the families, because always a mother, always a grandmother, always someone, and I always try to talk to the family as well.
Do you think networks of carers or self-help groups would be helpful?
Yes, with Eunice we had a WhatsApp group. Remember?
No, I was thinking.
Eunice gang.
Okay.
If we have something like this as a carer groups, and it's a very, very win-win because you don't have a hope. You by your own,
So network in an area could
Yes,
actually help you
yes,
solve things you don't
yes.
know what to do, but also have this sort of sense of support and,
Exactly.
word of mouth
exactly,
about
exactly,
future jobs.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. And courses and mentors?
Yes, this is essential. Everybody's need to have all the time refreshments, new courses, because the rules always change and you need to know what's next. Even not for just the carers, I think the family members need to have courses as well. They need to have a training because it's very easy for me to handle, to transfer, to do a patient. But imagine if you never did. Imagine if you are a young carer when you just study health and social care. You never do any changing up. You never know what's going on in the catheter. You never know to describe the color of the urine or the size of the stool when they come out. And I think we need to create or start to thinking about what's next because we don't have this. Being connecting with the GPs as well is another thing. I think it's a very good way. If they know they have someone to talk and report and work together.
And reminiscence? Past stories? Photographs?
Yes, everything. It's bringing them memories. It's important. We did this with Eunice, remember? We did boards, we did everything. This is make them enjoy, remember how wonderful life they had. And I think this make them easier to talking about funeral plans, what you want to do, how you want to do, what you need to achieve with this. And I think it's a combined in things, when you're talking about end of life, is not to go there and see someone dying. No, you have to, make them feel they are what they choose. They want to be at home. Why not?
And I think, how often do you think people want to help but don't know how to and need
Very
some
often.
kind of... Okay.
Oh, and we come across all the time with this. People try, they are anxious, they do things wrong because they don't know what they're doing. So it's a very important to thinking about all these kind of things,
Yeah. So by having regular meetings and a list of possible things that people could explore or try, they could come up with a shared plan where it makes it easier for people.
For everybody, Paul, not just for the patient or the family, it's the extending family as well.
Yeah.
Because when we make clear what's going on, it's make people realize health-deafy, it's possible.
Gracieli, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Thank you.
Gracieli was with us for a whole year, and in that time I learned an awful lot about caring from her, and from the experience. I'd been a GP for 30 years before Eunice became unwell, but it was only when I took to caring for her that I realised just how difficult it is, and how I was unprepared for it despite all my previous experience. It was when we were able to work with the GP and the district nurse and the palliative care nurse as a team to think through the problems for ourselves that things really did turn in a good direction. When we were simply following protocols and doing, inverted commas, what we were told, things didn't feel very comfortable at all. With hindsight, I think it would help for people in my situation, whether I know it or not, or whether I can think it through or not, to have available some advice in the form of video and booklets that just says, look, what are you trying to do with a healthy death? You're wanting them to end their life story in a happy way and engage all the people around them in a happy way to make this thing as fun and as meaningful as possible. Listen to people, make people feel in control. Also, you want to explain that it helps for people to make their own analysis of the issues and their own plans and not rely simply on protocols. And review this at regular stages. Engaging in the complicated issue of helping somebody to die really can be a very building, bonding thing for the people involved, including the local people. Clarify who's frightened, not always clear who it is. And people very often use their fear as an excuse to attack people who they probably shouldn't. List the common difficulties as end-of-life carers are almost certainly likely to encounter, with options to improve them. And this can be available long in advance. It's just fairly obvious stuff, really, like, you can become ill, have available anticipatory care plans, do not resuscitate forms, a will, funeral plans, finances, engage people, list people, prepare whatever you can prepare. Those things are all solutions to the stress and difficulties that you may encounter on that in that time. And list a whole suggestions of the bio, psycho, social, spiritual things that can make the end of life period positive and meaningful for the patient and the family, friends and community, including building a community around the patient. People really want to help, but they don't always know what to do. And provide a list of carers courses and carers groups and networks and other things that may help people. Carers don't have to use any of this, but having it available and knowing it's there and everyone knowing that it's there could be very helpful. It bound people together in a very, very profound way. Even now I bump into people in the park and there, I know that there is a strong bond that people seek out to say hello because of what we did when Eunice was unwell. And those skills are applicable throughout life. They're not end-of-life skills, really. They are relationship skills. They are how do you feel good about yourself? How do you think about complex problems? How do you learn to love people, care for a community, see things from other people's points of view? So I now think that if we could systematically and routinely help people who are in an end-of-life care situation to learn about this community building aspects of it, we could create a network of carers inside a primary care network area that could become the basis of an infrastructure of support for a compassionate community.